Hey everybody, this is Antonio Uribe. I'm a trumpet player from Portland, Oregon. I specialize in mariachi music as well as jazz, and I'm a composer and arranger. I'm bringing you a series of videos that's going to talk about the different aspects of playing the trumpet. This video is going to talk about specifically warming up. A good warm-up, a proper warm-up, is essential to having a productive practice routine, and it's also essential to be ready to perform when the time comes. Some of these exercises may or may not be out of your skill level. If you're a beginner, you may end up only doing 2 or 3 of these exercises, and your warm-up might only last 5 to 10 minutes. If you're an intermediate or more advanced player, you might end up doing all of these exercises and taking the full 20 to 25 minutes. Before we jump into it, I want to talk about a very important thing that holds true not only for warming up, but for all the exercises that we're going to be doing, is resting. So, we want to make sure that after every exercise, we rest the same amount of time that we spent doing said exercise. What I mean by that is, if we spend 2 to 3 minutes working on a specific exercise, we want to rest for 2 to 3 minutes after that exercise before we start on the next one. It's going to avoid us developing any bad habits, and it's going to avoid us getting fatigued too quickly. So, without further ado, we're going to start with the first exercise in our warm-up, and it's called free buzzing. Alright, so we're going to start with our first exercise, free buzzing. So, free buzzing is creating a sound with just our lips, no trumpet, no mouthpiece involved, and it sounds like this. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a C major scale, a concert B flat major scale, and we're going to buzz these phrases. So we're going to start with the first phrase that sounds like this. So we're going to start with that phrase, and then we're going to move up to the next interval. So we're going to start on C, then we're going to start on D and E, and so forth until we get all the way up to a B. So for those of you who are beginners or who haven't had a chance to sort of explore this concept, what I want you to do during the duration of the exercise is to just buzz this C. Every time I'm doing a phrase, just stay on that C and buzz that C. Get really comfortable buzzing that C. Get that sensation to feel natural. So we want this exercise to be dictated by our airstream. Our lips are just the vessel by which we're creating a sound, but they're not what are actually going to help create the sound. What's going to create the sound is our airstream. So we want to make sure we take a nice deep breath before each phrase and that we're engaging our core to support the airstream. If we do that and we have our lips in a proper position, we're going to be able to make a sound very easily and efficiently. So without further ado, we're going to start with our free buzzing exercise. All right, so now that we've done our free buzzing, we're going to move on to exercise number 2. Exercise number 2 is going to be the exact same exercise as exercise number 1. The only difference is that we're going to add the mouthpiece. So what you're going to find is that making these sounds happen on the mouthpiece is going to be a lot easier than making them happen with just our lips. The reason being is that we now have something to blow against. We're adding some resistance, so it's going to help us to create the sound. Again, for those of you who haven't had a chance to explore this concept before or don't feel comfortable doing this, what I want you to do is during each phrase, you just buzz that C with your mouthpiece. So, the point of this exercise, like the other exercise, is to let the air do all the work. We want to let the lips not really do much. We want the air to really be the proponent in the sound being created. So, without further ado, here we go, mouthpiece buzzing. All right, so we're moving on to exercise number 3 of this warm-up. So now we're going to actually include our trumpet. This is going to be sort of a hybrid exercise between mouthpiece buzzing, trumpet playing, but we're also going to include a little bit of singing. So for those of you who don't feel comfortable singing, just tag along, try your best. This isn't to sound the best singing. This is to connect the sounds that we can hear in our head with the sounds that are going to come out of our trumpet. So this exercise, we're going to use this sort of phrase. So what we're going to do is we're going to sing with syllable ah. We're going to sing every pitch in that phrase. Then we're going to buzz every note on that phrase. And then finally we're going to play every note on our trumpet. All right, so I'll go nice and slow so you can follow along. So we're going to start with the first one. It starts on C. All right, so. All right, mouthpiece. All right, and now trumpet. The same thing starting on A. We're going to go through the 7 different harmonic series on the trumpet, all the different fingers. Open, second finger, first and second, second and third, 1 and third, and then lastly all 3 down. All right, same thing. We're going to sing, buzz, and play. All Alright, so we've gone through free buzzing, mouthpiece buzzing, and then our hybrid singing, buzzing, and playing exercise. So now we're going to move on to some exercises that are only going to be playing on the trumpet. So this next exercise, exercise number 4, is going to be an exercise real simple. So it's going to start on a G, so it's going to be G, C, G, C, G. So we're going to play those, and then we're going to go down the harmonic series again, just like the last exercise. So again, it's going to be open, second finger, first finger, first and second and third, first and third, and then finally all three down. All right, so the point of this exercise, now that we're getting into trumpet playing, we've made some notes happen. So we want to work on creating a beautiful sound. We want to do it as efficiently as possible, right? So we're not working super hard, and we want to let the air do all the work. We want to try to connect all the notes if possible. All right, so without further ado, exercise number 4. All right, so now we're moving on to exercise number 5. So this exercise is going to be almost identical to exercise number 4, but instead of starting on G, we're going to start on C. So it's going to sound something like this. C, C, G, C. All right, and we're going to go through all the fingerings. Open, second finger, first and second and third, first and third, and then finally all 3 fingers down. All right? All right, so we're almost done with our warm-up. We've got 2 more exercises left. So these last 2 exercises are a little bit more advanced. So if you're a beginner and you've tagged along this far, fantastic. This would be a good stopping point for you. And if you're an advanced player, these are going to be 2 exercises that are going to sort of push you a little bit more. But I think they're essential to warming up on the trumpet. So these next 2 exercises are going to include a concept called lip bending. So lip bending is just taking a note and then bending the note so that it goes down and then bending it back up. That's the lip bending we're going to talk about today. So these next 2 exercises are going to, again, go through all the different fingerings. Open, second finger, first and second and third, first and third, and then finally all third. So it's going to sound something like this. I'm going to play the first one, and then we're going to start the series. I'm going to start on C. I'm going to go C, G, A, G, C. I'm going to do that starting on every fingering. So, the most important thing about this exercise is that as we're bending down, we want to keep the focus in our aperture and embouchure. We want to control the bend so it doesn't jump down to the next note. And then as we bend our note back up, we want to try to get the bend up to be just as slow as the bend down, right? And then after we're done bending, we want to just let every other note ring out and be really, really nice and full. All right? So, here we go, starting with the first one. All right, so we're on the last exercise of our warm-up. So this exercise is going to have a similar concept as the last one. We're going to keep including this lip bend. So now we're going to add 2 lip bends instead of 1 lip bend. So we're going to try to play this phrase with some lip bends. So the lip bends are going to be on the notes G and on the note C. So it's going to sound like this. So we're going to bend on G. And we're going to bend on C. So the notes that we're going to play are we're going to do that same thing on 7 different keys, starting on open, second, first and second, second and third, first and third, and then finally all 3 fingers down. And this is going to conclude our warm-up. All right, so here we go. Alright everybody, so that's going to conclude our warm-up. I'm going to include in the description timestamps for every specific exercise. So if you take a video lesson with me, I might assign a specific exercise. You can come to this video, find that exercise for a demonstration, and play along with it. I'm also going to include a link to all these exercises written out for those of you who couldn't see my fingers or couldn't quite hear what I was playing, so that you can follow along with the sheet of music. Yeah, and I hope that this was beneficial and it helped you. Stay tuned for more videos.